Schools are supposed to be safe, but sometimes the unexpected can turn an ordinary day into a nightmare. These are 5 creepy true school lockdown stories that will leave you on edge. Story 1. The Man at the Door. It was a regular day during history class. We were about halfway through a test when the loudspeaker crackled on. What followed was the dreaded announcement. Immediately, our teacher's face turned pale. Without missing a beat, she rushed to turn off the lights and motioned for all of us to get to the back corner of the room. The classroom, once bustling with whispers, fell into an eerie silence. We all huddled together in the dark, our hearts pounding. For a few minutes, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Then, it started. Screaming. It came from the hallway, and not just any scream. It was filled with terror, like someone was being chased. We all exchanged terrified glances. Then the banging started. It was coming from the lockers, a loud, relentless pounding. Someone, or something, was banging on the classroom door next. Each slam sent chills through us. No one moved, no one breathed. The seconds stretched into what felt like hours. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the announcement came. The lockdown was lifted. But even after we were told we were safe, the fear lingered. Later, we learned what had really happened. A mentally unstable man had managed to enter the school, assaulting a staff member before running through the halls. Thankfully, no one else was hurt. But that day, something inside all of us changed forever. Story 2. Trapped at lunch. Lunchtime, usually the loudest, most chaotic part of the day. But that day, chaos took on a new meaning. We were sitting in the cafeteria, laughing about some inside joke, when suddenly the loudspeaker interrupted. A hush fell over the room as the teachers tried to keep things calm. But you could feel the tension in the air. It wasn't long before we were all herded into the multi-purpose room. Students, teachers, staff, everyone packed into one tight space. We didn't know what was happening, and every passing minute felt like a ticking time bomb. Whispers spread fast, rumors of an armed man, someone with a gun. No one knew for sure. An hour passed before the lockdown was finally lifted. As we were escorted out, we saw police cars swarming outside the school. The real story: just across the street, a man had barricaded himself in his house. He was a registered sex offender, threatening to kill the cops and himself. It's strange to think that while we were stuck inside, fearing for our lives, there was someone so close, someone ready to end his. That day, fear took on a new form for all of us. Story 3. The basement incident. For me, the experience was a little different. I wasn't a student. I was an intern working on the school's computer systems. It was a quiet afternoon, and I was tucked away in the basement office, alone with nothing but the hum of the servers. That's when my phone rang. I answered, only to hear the words that sent a chill down my spine. "We're in lockdown. Turn off the lights and don't move." In a rush, I turned off the lights and hid under my desk. The silence that followed was unbearable. Every little sound, the creak of the door, the faint buzz of electricity, felt amplified. Then, footsteps, slow, deliberate. Someone entered the office, but the lights stayed off. My heart was racing as I held my breath. Whoever it was, they were just standing there, in the dark. I could hear their breathing, but they didn't move. I stayed hidden for what felt like hours. And then, a gunshot echoed from upstairs. My blood froze. Eventually, the lockdown ended, and we were cleared to leave. I later found out that the gunshot was real. There had been an armed suspect upstairs, and police had taken him down. Even now, I still don't know who it was that walked into that basement office, or why they never turned on the lights. Story 4. The library nightmare. It was supposed to be a peaceful afternoon in the library. The sun was shining through the windows, casting a warm glow over the tables where students were quietly studying. But that peace didn't last. The librarian's face went pale, and she quickly motioned for everyone to hide. We scrambled between the bookshelves, pressing ourselves against the walls, trying to make ourselves invisible. Minutes ticked by in silence, but then we heard it. A loud crash. Something, or someone, was moving in the hallways, knocking over chairs, slamming doors. The sounds were getting closer. Then, the footsteps, slow and heavy, like someone was dragging their feet. They came right up to the library door, and we could hear the handle turning. I held my breath, praying they wouldn't come inside. The door rattled, but it didn't open. Whoever it was, they stood there for what felt like an eternity. And then, just like that, the footsteps faded away. Eventually, the lockdown was lifted, and we found out what had happened. A man had broken into the school, fleeing from the police. He'd been trying to hide, just like us. But what scared us the most was that no one knew how he got in, or where he went after he left the library door. Story 5. The Stranger in the Gym. It was supposed to be just another day in gym class. We were playing basketball, running back and forth across the court when the loudspeaker crackled to life. Our gym teacher shouted for us to get down. We sprinted to the locker rooms, hearts pounding, and huddled together in the dark, cold space. The sounds from the gym echoed around us, but the door was closed, and we couldn't see what was happening. We sat there in complete silence, trying to make sense of it all. Then, suddenly, we heard it. The sound of the gym doors swinging open. Heavy footsteps filled the gym, but it wasn't our teacher. Someone else had entered the building. The footsteps got louder, and then the locker room door handle started to jiggle. A few of us nearly screamed, but we stayed quiet, frozen in place. The door didn't open, but we could hear banging on the walls, like someone was trying to get in. When the lockdown finally ended, we found out what had really happened. A stranger had wandered into the gym, claiming to be looking for someone. No one knew who he was or why he had targeted our school, but we were lucky. No one was hurt, and the police took him into custody. But the fear that he might come back, that's what still haunts us to this day. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more spine-chilling stories.